Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we will be talking about a movie that I actually saw the first 15 to 40 minutes of a couple years ago. I saw it with my friend Martin, and not finishing that movie was a huge mistake on my part because it's insanely good. So today we will be talking about The Social Network. Let's get invested in the characters first. The characters in this film are very, very good. We have Jesse Heisenberg, who plays Mark Zuckerberg. Spider-Man, I guess he finally has money. I mean, Spider-Man isn't broke anymore. And these two guys, you see these two guys? Two people being played by the same person? Another thing that I would like to mention is I have a very insane soft spot for true stories, because if the true story is just so insane that it's like hard to believe, that's when a true story has finally impressed me. Because like, even in the opening few scenes, when Zuckerberg creates Face Mash, I found it so hard to believe. 22,000 hits in the first few hours? That's insane. That can't possibly be true. But it's a true story. So nothing that happens in this movie can be discredited.
You're saying it's unusual for 4 in the morning?
No, this would be unusual for halftime at the Super Bowl.
I also have a soft spot for movies about corrupt billionaires. Like we're talking this movie, we're talking Steve Jobs, we're talking Vought from The Boys. I also love the back and forth of the early days of Facebook and the trials and the Facebook trials. So you get to see these people being such good friends, but then we cut to a scene where they're suing each other, and it's so interesting because the whole movie you're like, what's gonna happen? What's the falling out? Why is Eduardo suing Zuckerberg? The soundtrack is brilliant. I think that a movie like this needed a very synth soundtrack, and they pulled that off so well. They really got synths and pretty much every instrument in there. This is like John Williams. This like, when I hear this, I just think, did John Williams or Michael Giacchino do this? Because this is really good. I think it's also great how Zuckerberg is so in love with Parker, this guy who created this website, played by Justin Timberlake, no less, who's giving a surprisingly good performance as Sean Parker. But it's like, but he's like so in love. He has so many. He wants to do everything that Sean Parker says. But Sean Parker is like this asshole, this douchebag. Like, there's this great moment of realization in a scene that we're about to talk about, where Zuckerberg realizes, holy shit, Sean Parker, you're bad. You're a bad person. You did horrible things. Hands down, the greatest scene is where Eduardo got cut. It makes me... I've seen this movie 3 times now, and every time, this movie just sort of makes me like... My eyes get a little foggy every time I see it, because this man has done so much for Mark Zuckerberg, his best friend for so long. But Zuckerberg doesn't see him as a best friend. Zuckerberg sees him as an asset to get money from for the company. And that is just, that moment of realization is just so heartbreaking.
Sorry! My Prada's at the cleaners! Along with my hoodie and my fuck you flip-flops, you pretentious douchebag!
Security's here, you'll be leaving now?
David Fincher is also so good. He's made a lot of good movies. I like Alien 3, and not a lot of people do, but I like Alien 3. I think at the end, yes, the story made me very, very emotional. It shows this human who you begin the movie by just seeing him as this pretentious asshole. But at the end of the movie, you're like, this is the person. He is struggling. He is struggling as a person to keep his company, to keep people happy. He's struggling to have his friends. He's struggling to see the world in the right light, and I think that is super, super interesting. Zuckerberg, the character, is such an interesting character, and Zuckerberg, the person, I'm sure Mark Zuckerberg is a good person in real life, but what I'm talking about is Mark Zuckerberg in this movie, and the character is just perfect. His writing too it's very Tarantino-esque. This is not how a person would talk in real life. He's very fast, he's very calculated. He knows what he's going to say. He's extremely smart. And there's a video that goes a lot more in depth into Zuckerberg's character by Jack's Movie Reviews. That'll be in the card in the top right corner. But I think Zuckerberg has very good writing. He talks very fast, but he's very cocky, but there's something about him that still feels so human. This movie, in the first place, is not about Facebook. This movie is about people, and what people will do. If it was just about Facebook, like, for example, Jobs, if it was just about Facebook, then I'm sure it would still be a good movie, a solid, 7 out of 10. I'm sure it would still be a good movie. But the fact that it's about Zuckerberg struggling to keep things that the way they are, while also making money and doing what he loves, is heartbreaking, quite honestly. Because instead of getting invested in the company of Facebook, you get more invested in the stories of these characters and watching them win. You want to see Eduardo win, but he loses. You want to see Zuckerberg win, and he does, but he also loses something important in the process, and that is people. At the end of the movie, we get this great scene where it plays "Baby, You're a Rich Man" by the Beatles. And on surface level, you could, if you had just listened to that song from the movie, you'd say, "Oh, baby, you're a rich man." Yeah, it's about being rich. It's about having money. But this isn't about being rich physically. It's not being about rich financially. The song is about being rich with people. With people. It plays while he's trying to reconnect with someone, and that is beautiful. That is so good. That is beautiful. But without further ado, let's get on to the numbers. Hey guys, it's me, Numbers Man, and today we'll be counting the numbers for The Social Network. Starting off with the cinematography. The cinematography in this movie is very good. There aren't very bad shots. There's some just normal shots, and then there's some great shots. So I think I'll give this cinematography a 9 out of 10. It's very good, and it just has some normal shots. What can I say? The soundtrack is so brilliant. I think that whoever worked on this soundtrack just poured their heart into making it and creating things. We're gonna give the soundtrack a 10 out of 10. The acting, 9.5 out of 10. I think every character in this movie did very, very well. Jesse Eisenberg did brilliantly as Mark Zuckerberg. I think Andrew Garfield is the best actor in this movie by far. He did so well. I can't even fathom it. I think the worst actor in this movie is probably Justin Timberlake as Sean Parker, and even he's doing a good job. A musician is doing a good job, and I think that's also pretty good. The writing, I can't give this anything lower than a 10 out of 10. The writing in this is brilliant. Like, Zuckerberg's writing alone gives this such a boost. And the story, a 10 out of 10. I was gonna consider renaming this adaptation from real life for this specific story, but I think this is just a story in and of itself. So yeah, a 10 out of 10 on the story because it is just brilliant. It's pulled together so well. So overall, I'm going to give The Social Network a 9.5 out of 10. It is brilliant. It is so good. Goodbye, guys.